Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. We're going to be talking about what we've seen in the market today, especially with Palantir Technologies. Interesting to see we have an analyst that actually comes out and downgrades Palantir, even though they increased their price targets. We're going to be talking about what this means, especially as we have more of a confirmation on when earnings is going to be reported. That's set for August 5th. And ladies and gentlemen, that's only in about 3 weeks. And Palantir closes right now holding at the 28th. It'll be interesting to see if we do see this momentum and this push that continues to the 30s in light of this downgrade that we do have. And that's what a lot of the media articles did cover, was basically the same thing across the board. That's what we've typically been seeing with Palantir Technologies. So we're also going to be talking about, like I said, the market, NVIDIA, big things going on. So if you are a new or returning viewer, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos. And of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Now, what we can see in here, Palantir basically had a straight consolidation down a little bit in the after hours, sitting at 28.50 and closed at 28.67. In terms of what we're seeing for volume, staying relatively the same, around that 50 million mark, at 59 million to be exact. And what we see is actually short volume creeping up here slightly. And this could be due to the fact, like I said, we had an analyst that came out today that issued a warning on Palantir stock. And we're seeing all the articles that are basically reflecting that same thing. And we do see this whenever we see any type of bearish perspective that does come out. And guess what? One of the major justifications are for why they made this warning issue for Palantir. It's because of its valuation, which, I mean, that only makes sense. That's the biggest criticism that Palantir does have against it. Now, it did do a good job, I think, in light of the bearish articles that we did see. However, the firm actually increased their price targets, which I thought was actually kind of interesting and was not at the headlines of all the articles being released here. But what we do see is these analysts coming here changing a neutral rating to an underperform rating and reducing the rating, but however, increasing their price targets from $21 per share to $22 per share. They increased it by $1. Right now, that would be a 23% correction at what current prices are from the stock's prior closing price. Now, in yesterday's video, we talked about how Palantir, the 12-month forecast is basically at like 2250 right now, with about 13 different ratings that are all combined. And really what's behind this is because we have a note here from clients talking about following the rise 67% year to date, they find it increasingly difficult to justify Palantir high multiple 21x right here of CY25 revenue, and they're likely to discount significant acceleration versus what their expectations are for 20 to 21% revenue growth. So saying, hey, they think it's too highly valued. We do know this. Like I said, this is something we talk about all the time for Palantir Technologies, and you're seeing this exact same headline. Like I said, the street reports of today being spread across the board with those quarter two earnings. We've talked about the valuation 100 times, so I'm not going to keep diving into that. I've kind of came, for this stock, it's not really for your typical value-oriented investor. It's more of a speculative early AI play that has a lot of trendiness behind it right now and has been doing very, very well. And in terms of valuation, that's usually always kind of a barometer or a gauge of what these investors are predicting future earnings reports are going to report. And if we see August 5th now, post-market, that's when earnings should be released, earnings per share revisions in the last 90 days are 9 in the bullish direction. In the previous multiple quarters, we've seen only bullish earnings per share revisions. So if a majority of the market is predicting Palantir is going to continue to do well, then no wonder why it has a high valuation. Let's take a second to thank the sponsor of this video, MooMoo. Now, MooMoo is your one-stop trading app that offers free commission trading along with very powerful investment tools, making it easier for you to make those confident decisions within the market. Right now, new users can sign up utilizing my welcome bonus down in the description, and you can get up to 8.1% limited time APY on uninvested cash and up to 15 free stocks with a deposit. You also can get up to a $300 transfer in bonus, so you do not want to miss out on those rewards. Make sure you check out MooMoo down in the description. Back to the video. But getting back to this article right here, I'm talking about the origin right here. They're talking about, of course, the Department of Defense contract, keeping up in terms of the military and the commercial side of things. You see Palantir's lack of visibility and focus, more bearishness. And this is what we typically do see whenever we see a little bit of a change in momentum from these articles. It seems that all of them agree with each other. This is just kind of how the media works. That's why I always really try to come with a non-biased approach and just really data dispatching the information to you. What you guys deserve is just kind of what my opinion is on it, and kind of seeing that. And I think seeing the fact that you can see the switch in perspective here in just a matter of a few days is important. And of course, every time someone thinks the stock's going to go up, there's always a group that think the stock is going to go down. Otherwise, the stock would only go up or down. But getting back to that and getting back to the market, we have the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones that are continuing to surge towards these record highs. Even at the blue chip index, they're gaining over 700 points here. Now, this is in light of a big positive earnings from United Health. They saw shares rise over 7% for that particular individual stocks, and we're seeing better than expected earnings across multiple different sectors. And this is really pushing not only the S&P 500 and these larger blue chip indexes, we're also seeing small caps making a decent run. Correlated with this is inflation, CPI, metrics that have been showing in terms of data that's being released. A lot of people have different opinions. I saw your comments saying, hey, have you been to the grocery store? How do you think inflation is actually cooling? I'm saying what's being reported is signs that CPI and inflation is starting to cool off. What this means, and I know there's been revisions for what's included in these inflationary reports, is the probability for the first interest rate cuts is continuing to increase. And we're seeing about a 70 to 80% chance that we're going to see those first round of interest rate cuts come September, and about a 70 to 80% chance, depending on the source, that we're going to see 2 interest rate cuts this year. However, there could be many other reasons that we have the Fed Reserve pushing towards those cuts of interest rates. One of the big variables is what this year is. I'm not going to get too involved with that because we keep all that out of the channel. But that can have a variable and also kind of, I want to say, pressure behind it to make those first interest rate cuts. And what we're seeing is mortgage rates that are actually continuing to decrease, which is good for the potential home buyers out there. One big thing that we are seeing is NVIDIA. Still a lot of bullishness behind it. We see NVIDIA that closed here at 126. In yesterday's video, we talked about price targets that have risen. We've seen going up to 165. We've seen 150 after the post 10-for-1 stock split. Talking about here, NVIDIA stock is still a gift at $130, especially with the explosiveness behind the AI industry. Now, I think one thing that we can all agree is that we are in an AI boom, number one. Number two, that not everybody's going to agree on is when is that AI boom going to cool off? Because I think it's going to at some point. We're still going to continue to see growth, but this exponential boom that we've really been in. Look at NVIDIA since the beginning of 2023. Its run-up has been pretty incredible and I would say historic. And what we're seeing is sales and the demand for AI, especially in NVIDIA for these chips here, that is supporting this run-up. And especially with NVIDIA's data center sales and the momentum, what we saw in Q1 earnings were spectacular. And in the data center segment right here, sales skyrocketed to $22.6 billion in one quarter, reflecting that quarter-over-quarter growth of 23%. So as we see the expectations that are continuing to rise, I don't really see a cool-off in the near future for the AI rally. Coupling here with the expectations, the hopium, and the trendiness behind the first interest rate cuts. And with Palantir, I think we're only going to continue to see more volatility because we typically have a ton of trading that comes in right before earnings, trying to play off of the earnings hype. What do you think is going to be happening here for Palantir in the next few days? Do you think we're going to see that run up for 30? And also, what do you think with the downgrade? However, we saw an increase in a price target. What do you make of that? And that's all about half for you guys. Peace out, take care, and I'll catch you guys later.